Yeah, what's up? Today is August 10th. It's Saturday. I just completed my 12th flight and we're doing a different style of video. Still going to be a debrief, but instead I'm going to be recording it while I'm actually driving home instead of waiting to get home. Because let me tell you, on a day like this where I'm really hungry and food's waiting up for me inside, it's a lot to get through when you have to record a video first. So today we're going to be doing a debrief while I drive. Just a general overview. Things have been going well once again. It's been a while since I last flew. I last flew on the 18th of July, if I remember correctly. Around there, or maybe the 20-something of July. But regardless, it's been a while. That's the point I'm making. It's been a while. Thankfully, praise God, I didn't really regress much in between the two flights. I was able to go today, perform just as well as I performed in any other flight. And again, I'm so thankful for how the Lord has been able to help me progress in this journey. There are times where I feel like I'm not even doing enough to be worthy of such blessings. And I know why I don't feel that way. I just need to actually be honest with myself and work on it and get it sorted out. So today we, of course, doing circuits. We did a lot of new things today. Well, not a lot. We did two new things today. We did a intentionally high approach and an intentionally low approach, and that was just so I could have an idea of how to correct in either situations. Now, fortunately, I've been doing a lot of these kind of approaches on the simulator, even before coming in as a student pilot. Just general approaches on the flight simulator, regardless of plane. I've been used to pitch controls your speed, power controls the altitude. That's really just flying 101, landings 101. So if you're high, you don't want to pitch down to try and get lower, because you're just going to end up speeding up. What you want to do is you reduce some power so you fall, because there's less power keeping you up now, instead of trying to pitch down, which will just give you more speed. Likewise, if you're a low approach, you can't just pitch up and climb because you're slow, you have high drag because all the flaps are out, so you will more than likely get very close to a stall if you just try to pitch up to correct for that. So what you do instead is you put in power and behave like you're in slow flight. Because in slow flight, of course, just like in a landing, your power controls the altitude if you're climbing or descending, and your pitch controls your speed. Again, we did a rejected takeoff before the first set of takeoffs, and it was just, at this point, it's really just tradition to just make sure I do at least one before each flight, so I can ensure that I still remember how to do it. And praise God, I'm still able to do that, and I'm able to do it well. Now we did a total of, I believe it was three landings. So 3 times we actually touched the ground, but I believe we did 5 circuits, so twice we went around. And my instructor has just been giving me so much positive feedback. I'm very appreciative of his instruction, and of course God for guiding us together to our instructor-student journey. Yeah. And I've got to tell you, there is just something about doing the landings all by yourself consistently, where you know that your instructor isn't your instructor isn't interfering. Thank you, GPS. you know, you know that your instructor's not interfering, but at the same time, you have to be thinking about that. You're just thinking about landing the plane. And that's one of the telltale signs that, you know, a student is close to their solo, but to the point where the instructor has to do little to no correction during the flight. He was mentioning that specifically to me today, that guess what? I did not touch the controls. I did not touch the controls once today. To any of your 3 landings, they're all done by you. Now, that being said, there is some more to be desired from my landings. For example, I need to hold the nose up longer during the derotation. So if the rotation is when we are pitching up to take off, the derotation is after we have touched down on the mains and we derotate or lower the nose gear onto the ground so it can settle. So I just need to not let the nose drop immediately whenever with the mains touch down. I just need to hold the yoke up a little bit more and make it come down gently. That's really the takeaway for the landings in terms of the flare. For the approach, we had some winds today, some crosswinds today. Nothing too strong, but it was noticeable. Fortunately, I was able to handle them, so we didn't have to cancel the flight or anything. But I do need to improve on my corrections, because as you know, if we have a crosswind, the wind is going to blow us off center of the runway. So what we do is we point the nose towards the wind, so that although we look like we're flying slant, we're actually flying straight to the runway thanks to the wind. And that being said, of course we couldn't just fly all the way like that, or else we would touch down off center line after we get close enough to the ground where the winds don't affect us anymore. So what we do is we apply opposite rudder of wherever we're pointing the nose into. We apply opposite rudder right as we're about to touch down, and then just like that we have a crosswind corrected landing. Now there are cases where the winds will be so bad that you would have to actually delay that correction, that last minute correction, as long as possible, so that your main gear into the wind touches down first, because that's in cases where the winds are that strong, that's what you actually have to end up doing, so you know the plane doesn't get thrown all the way off, because that's how strong the wind can get in crosswind sometimes. But yeah, let me know how you like these drive and talk videos. It's really helpful for me, because I don't have to sit in my car and run it for an extra 10-15 minutes recording the video. I can just talk while I'm driving, use up that half an hour or so commute back, and just record the video. Now ideally I would have a dash cam or something where I could hook up the phone so it's not, you know, at this awkward angle. But who knows, maybe I won't even use footage of this, or maybe I'll use some background stock footage or something else while I'm talking. I just have this be a voiceover. I don't know. But let me know how you like this style of videos. Let me know. Most of the issues which I've been noting down from the last flight, they've sort of been solved out, or at least mostly been solved. For example, all my rudder issues, almost non-existent today, if not non-existent. I made sure I noted that I need to start holding that right rudder before applying takeoff, before releasing the brakes, whenever I'm doing a takeoff, and I started doing just that, and it's been working. I need to be a little more urgent, I guess I should say quick to act when it comes to the right turns, because we're doing right hand patterns today because the winds were favoring the opposite end of the runway. I need to be a little more quick to put in that right rudder for those pattern turns, but other than that, once again, pretty okay, pretty to standard. At least the standard has been the minimum I've always been achieving. It's really just trying to fine-tune everything else. It's really just trying to optimize and getting the best out of me as much as possible. I just want to be able to perform and improve a little bit better each flight, which is why I always make sure to find one piece of feedback at the end of each flight. There has to be at least one thing I could have improved on, at least one thing. did a simulated emergency landing. That was a simulated engine failure, so which turns into the emergency landing. That was one of the 3 landings that we actually completed. It went well, but it could have been better. So I ended up started turning towards the runway a little too quick, a little too early. So that ended up making us higher, not just higher, but closer to the runway than we would have wanted at that altitude. However, we were able to do a forward slip, we recovered, and we were able to carry on and do the rest. Other than that, I'm feeling much safer practicing the emergency landing procedure, and ultimately that is what the whole point of the circuit pattern has been. That has really been the whole point of it to me, or at least that's something I've really noticed, how much more safety conscious you end up becoming. There's a lot to look out for, a lot to make sure you don't do incorrectly, a lot to make sure it doesn't happen. You're just really focusing and really thinking ahead. When I was doing the maneuvers, I was thinking ahead, yeah, but I wasn't really thinking as much as in the pattern. You're really trying to imagine every variable possible, and how would you react if that variable took place, or if that variable had a next issue. So you really just have to, you're thinking on your feet quickly. I really need to start thinking, if the engine was lost, instead of just having the expecting the engine failure where we always expect it, I need to start thinking on any part of the leg or any part of the traffic pattern. If the engine was lost there, what would I do? Where would I go? I need to think about that more. That was something I should have thought of, but I forgot about it. However, one thing I didn't forget about was starting to do emergency briefings with my instructor. It's just something that gives you more peace of mind, knowing who is going to do what, who's in charge of what, if something else happens, something undesirable happens. So we did a little emergency briefing, and I'm already feeling, just doing that alone made me feel a lot calmer, a lot more confident into this. So if you are also a student pilot and you haven't been doing emergency or just general departure briefings, I highly suggest it. It really just puts you at ease, in case you're not even just putting you at ease, assuming you had nerves, but it's just the correct thing to do. You need to know what you're going to do. You need to verbalize it. Sure, you can think, sure, you can practice, but you need to verbalize your plan of action each time. One downside of this video format is that it's not going to be as, let me see, how should I say this, as structured, because normally I would sit down in the car, at least make a little mock script of the points I'd want to go over at the very least, and then I could just look at the camera and talk and then go on. But of course, I'm driving now. I didn't really write down anything beforehand. I just wanted to talk. So in a way, it's more natural sounding, but it's not going to be as, how should I say, it's not going to flow as well. But I don't think you'll mind. Hopefully you don't mind. But if you do, let me know. Again, please, let me know in the comments, how do you feel about this type of video? How do you feel about it? It feels like I'm doing a live stream in a sense. Thank you, sir. Yeah, almost home now. Almost home. Oh, I am going to destroy that Chinese food when I get home. Yes, I am. Oh, how could I forget? I also did my pre-solo exam, which is just a written test with a bunch of questions specific to the plane that we fly on, the 152, just to ensure that we know what we're going to do if something goes wrong, or at least we know the different things about the plane. We have to know the airspeeds, so a couple of emergency procedures by heart, and we definitely have to know at least 2 memory item checklists. But the test went well. I'm confident I passed, and the way that I've been progressing personally, and not just personally, but also with the feedback of my instructor, I feel that I'll be able to get that first solo within the next month. God willing, of course. yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about today's flight number 12. Again, Father above, thank you so much for what you've done for me. Continue, Father, continue to just guide me and protect.
Yeah. I only tell you the truth. I ain't got nothing to lose. Yeah. I gave my life to God and I'm still ballin'. Ain't nobody that can tell me I ain't all in. Late at night I hear the devil steady calling me. That's when I pray to the Father that He give me strength to fight these monsters.